Well, Phil, I got news for you. Doug Polk just made a tweet. He says, completely pathetic showing from Daniel Negreanu today. Taking 20 seconds to open, taking 20 seconds to check flop, taking every single decision effort to slow the game down to nothing. Total piece of shit move.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can't say that I never thought about if somebody tanks down. I mean, to me, it is kind of, what the fuck are you doing, right? Maybe Daniel thinks he's countering Doug by limping, by just playing slow. It doesn't really make much sense to me. I mean, I think that Daniel knows that Doug also wants to not play. So maybe Daniel's like, I'm going to drag this out. I'm going to make you keep playing day after day after day. So I can understand what's happening here. But, I mean, listen, man, this is how the match goes. It makes sense. I don't know, Phil. What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously, if one of your opponent does this, I'm going to be pretty upset, too, about it. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Let's speed this up. Let's play. Like, why are you doing this? But what would you think if one of your opponents started doing this to you?
Yeah, I'd be pretty annoyed. I didn't realize, I was kind of half watching and talking to you. I didn't realize that he was taking the full 20 seconds for like pre-flop decisions. So kind of my comments don't apply. It does look like it's intentional. And I can't see a reason other than to tilt Doug or to that he doesn't feel ready to play against the limp still. So he's just putting in the 2 hours as slow as he can and then going back to the lab.
I see what you're saying. So you're saying you think that Daniel just might be like, okay, I still want to study it more before I put in more hands. I want more of that study time, and that's why he might come out and play with this real slow style.
That's the only logical, strategic reason that I can think of besides just, annoying Doug.
Mm-hmm. The chat is the commentary. The chat is fired up right now, guys. Listen, we appreciate y'all for tuning in here. Right hand side, we see a 3-bet pot, 10-7 deuce rainbow. See what happens here. Left-hand side, Daniel is doing that indeed. He is the supreme tanker, as Rob Young calls him. So we have the limper versus the tanker here, as the two are going back and forth. Right-hand side, Doug's going to continuation bet 2/3. 10-7 deuce. Daniel going to be continuing with his gut shots, his any pair he has, any 10, any 7, most deuces, 8-9, Jack-9, 6-9, even some backdoor kind of combo draws, maybe like a backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. He does indeed call. Turn is a 5, 10-7 deuce 5. If Doug has a 10 or an overpair, he's still feeling pretty good about his hand. 19,000 in the middle. Let's see what size he decides to go with. He does check it over to Daniel. See what Daniel decides to do. Left-hand side, Daniel tanks down. Does call. Right-hand side. Let's see what he does, Phil.
I'll start with the tank.
Start with the tank first. Balance his tanking range. A supreme tanker.
Yeah.
The military tank himself, Dan Negreanu.
I guess small is the main sizing on the turn there if Daniel bets. You've been watching this a lot more than me, but that would make sense with SPR 1.5.
Mm-hmm. He does check back right-hand side, 12.8K from Doug. Jack-9, 6-9, get there. See what Daniel decides to do. Could have 8-9, could have a hand like Jack-8. Made a pair on the river, think it might be good to call with. Maybe he thinks Doug Polk bluff it a little bit less, and then Doug Polk, we know he's the master bluffer. The guy loves bluffing more than anybody in the world.
I kind of think he's bluffing. I mean, I'm terrible at no limit, but it seems like a good turn for him to continue betting his overpairs and his most of the hands that make. I guess it's like 7-8.
Does call ace-9 versus 6-10. Daniel slow rolls him basically with the 6-10 of hearts. I mean, the guy's never folding. Has 100% of slow roll here. I mean, I don't know how else you want to call it. So I guess now slow rolls are in order as well in this match too. So these two are getting after it here, Phil. All right, Phil, we got my man Doug Polk in the chat. Shout out to Supreme Leader. Hopped in here. He said, Phil, check Twitter. I think he might be looking for a ruling from you, Phil, on this, if this is in line or out of line or something like that. So
I forgot I'm also the arbitrator.
So Phil Galfond is the arbitrator of this bet, and Doug Polk is going to Phil Galfond for a ruling on this to figure out if this is in line, if this might be grounds for termination. If so, yeah, we're gonna go to a ruling here. Phil Galfond, also the arbitrator, live on air, Phil. So you can kind of talk your thoughts out. Well, obviously, yes. we heard your reaction to this. We heard kind of how you felt about it. You didn't seem to feel pretty good about it. Now, is this some sort of punishable offense? I mean, I don't know. It's something to think about, Phil. Did you anticipate having to rule on this when this took place,
no.
or what?
I mean, there's definitely no rule against it, but I would think. I mean, it's something that they need to talk out, I think. What I would say is
Pause now.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, maybe they play one more hour and then discuss it. But like, if Daniel needs to explain why I think he wants to do this, and maybe there's an agreement they can come to of sorts that would involve Daniel not doing this. Like, if his reason is that he wants to play, he like doesn't want to play a long session today or doesn't want to play many hands today, then maybe they agree to play a shorter session if Daniel just plays at a normal pace. And I mean, like the pre-flop spots are.
Nice call by Doug. 10 Jack there. Take it down. Yeah, continue on that with that, Phil.
But yeah, I you got to know Daniel's motivation first, to see if they can come to some resolution. There's no reasonable motivation, as far as I can tell, to do this. It'd be one thing if he used to like quickly bet on the river and he's just like, I need to balance my timings better, I'm going to take 20 seconds on every river decision. That would be fine. But that's clearly not what he's doing. But I don't know if there's any kind of ruling I can make.
The pressure he's under.
All right, they're calling me. I guess I'm going to go talk to them. I don't know if they want it to be private or not, but I'll tell you.
No. They want it to be public, baby. What are you talking about? We got 5,400 people here watching live that want to hear that call. We want to hear that call, Phil. Let's go. Let's have the call. I think we should have the call on here.
No, I mean, it's up to them.
Okay.
I'll present that option to them, but for now.
Okay.
I should go take the
Doug
call.
messaged me. He said, tell Galfond to turn on his phone. So Phil Galfond is going to go mediate right now. We want public. Come on, transparency. These fucking elites always getting the best of us. All right, so Phil Galfond is going to take a call from Doug Polk and Dave Negreanu. I have never seen anything like this in the history of challenges right now, guys. This is a first. This is a first. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. All right, Phil Galfond, welcome back. The arbiter in the bet. Phil, give us the inside scoop. What happened here, buddy?
It's tough. It's a tough one. They're going to come back and play basically as if like the time that we were on the phone didn't count.
Okay.
But Daniel intends to play the minimum. So that's probably a half hour more. I don't know how long I was gone.
Yeah, you were gone for about 15, 20 minutes, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And then we're going to talk it out some more. It's a pretty tough spot for me as the arbitrator.
Yeah, it is. It is, Phil. This is very, very, obviously, both of these guys, we got a lot of history. Both of these guys have been around for a long time.
Honestly, I wouldn't have a problem ruling like in one of their favor against one of them. But it's difficult because it's such a, Daniel's not doing anything against the rules, and it's kind of hard, but he's doing something pretty annoying and as Doug's kind of arguing against the spirit of a match like this. And I agree with him, but I also don't know. So basically we agreed, or I just said, finish this match today and we'll talk again. But and Daniel's going to play faster from the button today now, but not from the big blind.
So you're saying that Daniel said he's going to play faster from the button, but not from the big blind. Why exactly is that?
Because against the big blind, he's facing a limping strategy, and this is all new to him. And some spots are really tough. It takes a long time for him to figure it out, so he wants to balance his timing. And I mean, I think he also wants to play fewer hands right now, like I was guessing, to give himself more time to study the new spots.
So what was Daniel's excuse for this whole tanking thing? Was just that it's in the rules and he can kind of do what he wants to do?
Yeah. He wants to play fewer hands today.
Well, I guess what could you really do if you go back and think more about it? Like, what other conclusion can you necessarily come to outside of is it's allowed or if it's not allowed? So, like you said, it's not really against the rules. So I don't see how that you can say it's not allowed to do, right?
Yeah. No, I'm not looking forward to the next call and having to make some kind of decision to figure this out. But for now, I guess we enjoy the bit of action that we get.
Yeah, I got to say, Phil, I would not want to be in the middle of Doug Polk and Daniel Negreanu arguing because you know that Daniel or Doug, not one of them is like, you know what? You're right, Daniel. You should be able to tank on me, right? And then Daniel's not like, you know what, Doug? You're right. I'm not going to. So these two are like fucking bulls beating their heads against a brick wall when it comes to trying to negotiate something here. So Bill, I don't envy your position, but I feel like if anyone's capable of putting in a nice deep thought, coming to a reasonable conclusion that both sides can agree with, it's the challenge god. You, Daniel, going with a big raise on the right hand side. The 7x. We have not seen the 7x raise pre-flop yet. Daniel calls left hand side, flops ace jack 4. Right hand side, we do see our first 4-bet of the match. Here we go, lock in. Doug's in the tank. He does lay it down left hand side. Continuation bets half pot. Daniel probably continues here with what do you think he continues there, Phil? Aces, jacks, any pair, gut shots?
I think definitely any board pair, any gut shot. I don't know how much further than that you go. I mean, some pocket pairs, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Maybe like if he didn't 4-bet a hand like pocket 8s, pocket 7s, maybe he calls here some frequency.
Yeah.
But he does indeed call. Turn is a 9. So Doug checks over to Daniel, 16,000 in the middle, about 36,000 behind. Doug's going to be checking some of his strong aces here. Doesn't always have... he's well protected in his range. We've seen him show up here with ace-king. We've seen him show up here with pocket aces. We've seen him show up here with all sorts of hands. And Daniel bets small, 6,500 to 16,000. Not a size we've actually seen at all. This challenge, that specific size.
Really interesting.
Sets up a perfect pot size river bet shove here. So Doug does check call turn. River's at 3. If Daniel has an ace, I do expect him to shove here for value. A hand like ace 5, ace 6, maybe ace 4. Here we go, Phil. 28,000 behind. Daniel tanking down once again. Is he going to ship it in? He does check back. King high for Doug Polk. So king, queen gets there. Daniel does not bluff. I have to imagine that was definitely going to work out there if he decided to shove it in. But Daniel probably kicking himself there a little bit. Doug Polk, king, queen. Seems like a pretty standard hand there, right? Right, Phil? Check 3-bet pre-flop, C-bet flop, check call turn.
Yeah, turn seems... I would imagine that you bet some, check some on the flop. But who knows? I mean, actually, I know what the best answer... If other people didn't have side bets and just the two of them did, I would go in and I would suggest, okay, how about you guys add 3K hands and Doug promise and nobody can limp. And I think they both like that. So then everybody would win. But I think they probably can't do that because of that wouldn't be a ruling. That would be a suggestion for a deal that I think they'd like. But yeah, I think with side bets, it's pretty tough.
Well, we're going to see how this match develops here, boys. We're here. We're going to be watching the rest of the challenge. It's going to be, I mean, listen, if Daniel makes it close, it's going to be really interesting. Obviously, he's still he still needs a lot of work to do. He's still got a lot of room to grow, but anything's possible here. We got about 6,000 hands left. Looks like they're playing about 500-600 hands a session, so he's going to need to win about 100,000 here, maybe a little bit less to be on pace to be able to take this one down. Right-hand side, he does take one pot down. Left-hand side, we see a check call, 9-9-5. Turn 3, so 7-8 makes a pair on the river. 6-7 makes a straight. Backdoor hearts miss. See if Daniel goes to the pretty big bet. Right-hand side, Doug Polk does 3-bet. Left-hand side, indeed. Daniel does overbet. He says he has a 9 here. Could have a 9. Probably not doing this with any overpairs. So he's saying he has a 9. Or he's got a bunch of dog. Ace, deuce, offsuit. Dan Negreanu caught speeding a little bit. Trip 9s for Doug Polk, as he's got to feel good about that pot. A nice $40,000 pot goes his way. It's Daniel Negreanu getting a little out of line in that Tesla, speeding around. Trying to show off that overbet to all the people watching out there. And unfortunately, the truck driver, Doug Polk, comes along, Phil. And he's going to smash that card to pieces with the call. Very nice call there. 7-9. And nice hand there for Doug Polk. You seen that one, Phil?
I have seen that one, yeah. No, because I've watched a lot of the highlight videos from Moonlight Master, so I've caught a lot of your streams that way.
Oh man, I love it. Shout out to Moonlight Master. Moonlight Master's working hard on YouTube. He's been doing a lot of highlights of this challenge on his YouTube channel. So if you want the condensed version with the big pots, you can check him out on YouTube. Moonlight Master. He does a lot of the Galfond challenge highlights as well too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. He's shockingly fast with it.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Second 4-bet of the day. Let's see what Doug Polk decides to do here. They're about $50,000 deep to start this hand. Will we see Doug Polk make the call? Might see our first big pot of the session. Lock in here, boys. We do see our first 4-bet of the session. Jack 4-3. 2 hearts, 39,000 behind. The standard here has been for the 4-better to make that very small continuation bet, that $5,300 size. Doug continuing here with most jacks, flush draws, small pairs like pocket 8s, pocket 7s, maybe ace 4 if he does have that, if he is calling that to a 4-bet. Probably not calling that to a 4-bet, but maybe one of the best 4s he might have. He does check call. Turn of 10 of hearts, Phil. Lock in. 34,000 behind. Flush draw gets there. Jack 10 makes 2 pair. Ace Jack and King Jack. Possible for Doug. Maybe possible for Daniel too. He does go with that 3rd pot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you ever see all ins here?
Sometimes they
like
see
from Daniel.
Yeah, occasionally, but Doug does lay it down.
Well, by the end of a challenge, you have reads and reads like, my opponent's, bluffing too often with the turn C bet or whatever it may be. And so when that's the case, right, if somebody's over bluffing, the proper exploit is just always call. And if someone's under bluffing, the proper exploit's always fold. So you end up having a lot of spots where you deviate pretty far from GTO to the point where it's not worth studying GTO once you have those reads.
Makes sense. Interesting. Right hand side, we see a 3-bet and we see a check raise, Phil. Jack 10 6. Okay, lock in. Here we go. Jack 10 6. Doug Polk 3-bets. Check raise is small on this board. And Daniel just called. Turn is a jack. Could be a little monkey wrench for a hand like pocket kings or pocket queens. Certainly a hand that Doug could show up with here. King, king, ace, ace. Daniel going to have his draws. Going to have some jacks, some 10s. Doug does bet small. 7,600 into 23,000. I expect Daniel to fold maybe his 6s and continue with his draws. Almost all of his draws. If he has maybe king 9, he might not decide to continue with a hand like that. But you never know. Let's see, left-hand side, something brewing as well. 14.4K in the middle. Right-hand side, Daniel might decide to shove here occasionally. But he does just call. River's an ace. So king, queen makes the straight. Left-hand side, ace 7 for Daniel. Shows down a $14,000 pot with this 2-pair. Very scared right off for him. Right-hand side, Doug checks over to Daniel. So Doug check raises flop. Check, check, turn. Could have a hand like king, pocket kings indeed.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, bad river there for Doug Polk. Daniel does not take the bait, and Doug Polk wins with their $8,000 pot indeed with pocket kings.
The problem is, I think I actually get more respect than I should, especially for No Limit. Maybe not for PLO, but for No Limit, I think people just assume that I'm going to be amazing, and I haven't even played it, and like literally haven't played it. I'm not trying to hustle. I think I'll study and get pretty good, but
right.
I really haven't played it in over a decade. Like outside of WSOP events and things like that.
Left-hand side, we do see something brewing here. Phil, Jack 5 6 3. 3-bet pre-flop. Daniel C-bets flop. Doug does call. Shout out to Majin Cast, my man on Twitch. What's up, big dog? Nice to see you, buddy. Always enjoying checking in your stream that late at night when I pop in and I'm on the Twitch poker directory. My man Majin's got a few nice little scenes up there. Actually, Majin, I don't know if you know this, you inspired fire mode. So I saw something you did. I was like, oh, it's pretty lit. So then I made fire mode. So thank you very much. Left-hand side, getting checked down to the river. And Doug's going to bet. Gets snap call, 10-jack versus the king-queen. Nice call by Daniel Negreanu. Top pair, we with the 4 straight out there. The missed backdoor flush draw for Doug Polk. So Daniel gets a little bit back himself there. Nice call, nice hand by him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't expect a lot of bets on the flop from Doug, or I expect pretty low betting frequency. So the bet check line is interesting, to say the least.
Here we go, Daniel. 9 on the river. Might look to value bet some hands. Does check it over to Doug. So 10-jack gets there. Flush gets there. Right-hand side. 3-bet pot. Big pot energy is brewing. It senses something. Doug's going to bet big. 10.7K. About 2/3. Doug
I think Daniel checks. I think Daniel checks a lot of stuff, including his check raises, because Doug, by betting flop checking turn, is saying, I have a draw of some kind.
Daniel lays it down, Phil. Right-hand side, half pot from Doug on the flop and a 3-bet pot. Bets turn, 12K. Daniel, if he's got an 8, he's starting to get a little poker hard. Maybe all in! Call! 7s versus jacks! Ay. Daniel makes maybe a little misstep there with the pocket 7s. Gets snap called by pocket jacks. 100,000 power. The big pot energy works again as Dan Negreanu. Ay, Poppy. Couldn't necessarily enjoy that. The missile comes down. Raining fire on Dan Negreanu. This is actually why I liked when this challenge came up, because I started studying a lot of heads up Nolan Hold'em, and that was my first love as well. So I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. You know, like it's so like, I mean, it's just so, there's some, yeah, but when you're playing it, it's so many spots you don't really know what to do because you haven't really studied them that deeply, and certainly it's a little stressful here playing heads up Nolan Hold'em specifically. We can see that hand. Daniel had aces. We didn't see that wrong. Let me see what he did with aces there, guys. Pocket aces, re-raise pre-flop, 8, 8, 10. Gonna check it sometimes. Turns a 10. Yeah, not a good card. Check, check. River's a 4. Check, check. Okay, it's one way to play aces, but makes sense. Checks it down. Right-hand side. A little something brewing here, boys. I don't smell it fully, but Doug does call. River is a 4. Doug calls quickly. Gonna have some jacks, some 9s. Gonna have some made straights. He might be slow playing. Maybe ace 8, king 8. Daniel, pot size bet left, probably going to be value betting his over call. Doug Polk snaps him off with the 8-10 trip 8s for Doug. That makes sense, and that is another big pot. That goes Doug Polk's way, $80,000. Daniel Negreanu maybe getting a little bit out of line with that one, as we see Doug Polk absolutely backing up the truck there. And listen, guys, I think after that hand, he's getting a little bit in fire mode as he stacks Daniel Negreanu twice on that right-hand side. You know what? I think it's time, Phil. Bring out the machine gun on him! Let's go! Boom! Blowing him up on Negreanu. A big pot goes Doug Polk's way. Some $80,000. 4-bet alert, left-hand side. I expect Daniel to maybe gamble it up here a little bit looser than he might, Phil.
Yeah. No, he has to feel... I think he'll feel like he needs to gamble.
All in. Call. Jacks versus 7s. Daniel goes for one back. River comes down. It's the 9. And just like that, Daniel Negreanu gets one back as Doug Polk does indeed. Maybe he decided, hey, let me give this guy back one. And just like that, Phil. Oh, no, not these guys.
Another 4-bet on the right table.
Lock in. 4-bet alert. Right-hand side. Another 4-bet goes down. Jack 7-5. Here we go. Dan Negreanu on the warpath back.
I don't know if 7s are normally a 4-bet get-in. Probably a mix, but with Daniel 3-betting more, which he's going to do at this point, especially down 150 today, I'm sure it becomes a 4-bet get-in.
Well, here we go.
If it's not already.
And well, I guess Doug had pocket 7s there.
Yeah.
Right-hand side. Here we go. Lock in, boys. Jack 7-5. Daniel does not look like he wants to go anywhere. He's in the tank right now. It looks like he's going to continue. He does. Turn is a 7. Pocket 7s makes quads. Could be a hand. We did see Daniel, maybe he does pile more money in 5-bets with pocket 7s, but probably calling sometimes too. Checks over to Doug.
Yeah, it's interesting what hands you can remove when you think he's just going to like rip it in and gamble with ace queen and stuff like that, and 7s and 6s.
Well, here we go. 1/3 pot bet. We saw Daniel take this same line on a similar texture earlier. Daniel's going to continue with his jacks. His 7s might check raise some of those hands as well. Could have flush draws, straight draws that have gut shots as well. Might not. He does check raise all in. And a snap fold from Doug Polk, actually. Dan Negreanu's $64,000 pot. And just like that, he kind of gets it back there. I'm going to keep this short so you guys don't keep spamming this the entire time. Ben CB. No, Ben CB is going to be commentating on Friday with me. He's not the person that bluffed Phil Ivey on High Stakes Poker. Will Arnett. No, not Will Arnett. No. Do all you guys have run at once accounts? I don't believe it. Right-hand side. Uh-oh. Little 3-bet pot. Daniel C-bets. Doug calls. Turn is a queen. Doug's going to bet again.
So I was always making things. I went on to study both art and graphic design in college.
See what happens on the turn. Daniel going to continue with all of his flushes, all of his queens, maybe the one naked spade as well too. Ace jack with jack of spades. He does call. River's a queen. Backdoor trips gets there, and Daniel checks. 48,000 behind. I don't see Doug Polk making a huge bet here. He goes 2/3. Snap call. Queen 8. For Doug, $61,000 pot goes his way, Phil. That hand makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Very standard. Bet on the turn, bet on the river. As Daniel Negreanu does indeed. We don't know if he's quitting yet, Phil.
I think it.
No.
Yeah, he is.
That is going to be it. Dan
GG.
Negreanu taps out. It looks like